Hello everyone, in this video we'll be learning about how to read and write chess notation, okay? So this will not only be for us to read and understand chess books or articles online, but also when playing at chess tournaments in person where chess notation is required, alright? As we can see, we have letters and we have numbers alongside our chessboard. This system of coordinates will help us give a name to each of the moves that we make with our pieces. Okay, so for example, we have A1, we have A2, we have B1, we have D4, we have E5, all the way to H8. When making moves, we should just write the name of the square where our pieces are landing. For the pawns, we should just write the name of the square they're moving to in the lowercase, as we reserve the capital letters for our higher value pieces. For the rest of the pieces, we use the first letter of each of their names with a capital letter. For example, for the queen, it will be a capital Q. The bishop will be a capital B. For the rook, it will be a capital R. But then we have the king and the knight, which both start with K. In this case, we're actually going to give the K to the king since it's the most important piece of in the board. And we're going to go to the next letter for the knight, which is the N. So we're going to be using the N for the knight. Now we're going to go ahead and make some moves on the board and write the names, okay? So we're going to have 1 E4, C6, 2 D4, D5, and now we have NC3. N with capital letter, referring to the knight, is moving to the C3 square. Alright, next move is going to be, oh, there's a capture. So how do we write a capture? A capture is displayed with an X. It's written with an X, as in takes, it's lowercase as well. So in this case, it would be D takes E4. Alright, so D takes E4. We go ahead, and in this case, the knight is capturing E4, right? So we will do capital N, X, E4. Alright. We go ahead and we go NF6. Remember that the N is capital letter, right? We retreat NG3, going back there, preventing any trades. Now, in this position, we have ND7, but you can tell that both knights can go to D7, right? So in this case, we can try to be a little bit more detailed about which knight is going to the D7 square. In this case, we can write it as like N, capital N, B, lowercase, D7 in lowercase. So we're saying that the knight on the B file went to D7. All right. Now we go capital B, C4, then NB6, capital B, B3, capital B, G4, and then NF3, E6, castles. How do we write castles in this position? Castles is displayed with a capital O dash capital O. So it's O and O. Alright? So that's when castling for the king side, you know, short castles. So here we have capital Q, C7. We have C3, just lowercase. And now, how do we write long castles? Long castles is written with 3 O's instead of 2 O's. So it's going to be capital O dash capital O dash capital O for long castles. Castles on the queen side. In this position, I would like to show you something that can be tricky to write. Alright, so we can notice that both knights are on the C file. And our next move is knight E2. So would we write it as like NE2? Or NCE2? If we write it as like NCE2, it will be a little bit confusing because we were not sure which knight that was on the C file went to E2. In this case, we can try to be a little bit more detailed about it, and we can write it as NC1E2. Okay, so N, capital N, C1 in lowercase, E2 in lowercase. All right. We go ahead, and in this case, we're moving the rook, or our opponent's moving the rook to D8. So how can we write this one? Take a second. So it will be R, capital R, A, D8. because capital R referring the rook that was from the A file went to the D file. So RA D8. Perfect. Now, how do you write this one here? Take a second. So it would be capital R, F, D1, right? So capital R, the rook that was on the F file, went to the D file. Perfect. On the next exercise, I would like to show you how to write something else. In this case, it will be a check, all right? So in this position here, white goes with the rook to E8, all right? So we would write it as like R, E8, and check, it's displayed with a plus sign, okay? So it'll be like R, E8 plus, because it's giving a check to the king, all right? So then we go ahead and we do like R, X, E8. The black rook is taking the rook on E8, but it's actually taking the E8 square, all right? And then we go ahead and we do R, X, E8 plus, because of the check. Our king is in check, and now we have king H7, which is written as capital K, H7. We're going to move into this position here, and how do we write checkmate, right? So in this position, we have a checkmate in 1. We can see the battery in a way here. We have a lot of pressure on the B2 square, all right? So if we go like this with the queen, it's black to move, queen, B2, checkmate. How will we write that? It would be as like capital Q, X, B2, hashtag or the number sign, as in checkmate. In this position, I would like to show you how to write a promotion, a pawn promotion, okay? So let's say in this position, we would like to promote the pawn into a queen. So we would do something like this. We would write it as D8 equals queen, or capital Q, right? So it will be D8, because the pawn went to D8, equals, referring to is promoting into or is turning into capital Q, a queen, okay? That's how we would write it. What if in this case we just promote it into a knight with check? How will we write that? It would be D8 equals capital N plus for the check. And if a position were to be a mate in the promotion, instead of the plus sign, it would be the number sign or hashtag. Okay? I just showed you some of the important chess notations that you should always consider for your games and to keep track of what you're doing. There are some extra notations that could be more helpful for you to remember certain moves that you were thinking, oh, they were great or they were not so great. Okay? So these are the following. One exclamation mark, that's considered a great move. An exclamation mark followed by a question mark is considered an interesting move. A question mark followed by an exclamation mark is considered a dubious move. A double question mark is considered blunder. A double exclamation mark is considered a brilliant move. Now that we learned how to read and write chess notation in the algebraic form, we'll be able to access some chess books, some online articles about chess, and even be ready for our next in-person chess tournament. I hope you found this video brilliant.